All right, so I've got some more tea for y'all. If you're ready, just hang out with me and we're going to talk Bible tea. All right, so in my last, segment, we talked about David and Goliath and some of the things before and after, and we're just going to follow up from here. So where we ended it was, King Saul had given David status and wealth and all of these things, and he became a commander in King Saul's army and all of these things because he defeated Goliath. So King Saul is becoming jealous because everybody is praising David for accomplishment in defeating the Palestinians, okay? And King Saul's like, but I'm king. It was me who ran them off. Why am I not getting the praise for this? So he starts getting in his feelings, okay? And these feelings just keep festering and festering. And the more David accomplishes and the more success he has, the more King Saul is jealous. This jealousy gets to a point where King Saul's like, man, I can't even control it anymore. Okay? Like, he is just angry. David is actually playing the harp, okay? Like, playing music. He was known for music and writing poetry and things like that. So he's playing the harp, and King Saul grabs a spear, okay? And throws it directly at David, okay? Like, that jealousy beat King Saul, okay? It got to a point where he just couldn't even hide it anymore. David takes off running because he just about died, okay? So he takes off running and doesn't even look back. Like, he's like, yeah, you need to breathe, bro. So King Saul gets to this point where he's like, okay, if I can't kill him, I'm going to figure out a way. And he decides to be a little tricky in this, and tells David, hey, I'm going to let you marry my daughter. But first, you have to prove to me that you deserve it. You have to go out and kill 100 Palestinians and bring them back to me. Now, King Saul thinks that he's won because there's no way David can do this. But, David's got God backing him. And so David takes this as a challenge and says, okay, Lord, you will get me through this. David ends up killing 200 Palestinians, so he doubles what is asked of him. So King Saul's like, okay, this isn't going to work. And he goes to his son Jonathan, okay, which Jonathan is actually best friends with David, like loves David like a brother. And he is like, Jonathan, I need you to kill David for me. Jonathan is distraught inside of himself because David's like my brother. You want me to kill my brother? Like, what? So Jonathan goes to David and he's like, look, bro, I'm going to need you to run and hide and never stop running because my dad does not like you. He is jealous and he's never going to stop until you're done. Like, he will never stop until he defeats you. So David goes off on a run, okay? He is terrified for his life. He is running. He is living in the wilderness. He's living off of bare minimum. He has nothing to his name at all. He is surrounded by criminals and people that, are beneath the status that he had reached. And he's like, God, why? What do I do? He reaches a point where he is asking God, what did he do to deserve this? But he never loses faith. And so he says, Lord, please guide me. Okay? He's asking for God to guide him. So he ends up building up kind of like a small group of men that are like-minded, that agree with David, that know what David, goal is. And so they kind of band up together. And they happen to be sleeping in a cave, resting, because, they're in the wilderness. There's no shelter. So they find a cave. And they're resting and doing their thing. Well, King Saul happens to have like 3,000 men with him, and they're searching for David. And he happens to get tired and decides, look, there's a cave. I'm going to go rest. King Saul is resting in the cave that David and his men happen to be in. Like, what? So David's men are like, look, bro, God delivered him to you. He has delivered your enemy to you. Take your moment and end this. And they just keep telling him to end it. And David has a knife in his hand. King Saul is passed out. He is in his hands and he can take revenge on him right now. Right now, he has the moment. Oh, but what David does, get this. So David, instead of killing King Saul, David tears a piece of his robe off. He cuts a piece of his robe off and he steps back. When King Saul wakes and is getting ready to leave the cave, David yells out to him, look, sire, I could have ended your life, but instead, I did not. I chose to allow you to continue living. Here's a piece of your robe to show you how easily it would have been for me to take your life, but I chose not to, because I'm not going to kill someone who was anointed by God to be king of Israel. King Saul breaks down. He drops to his knees and begins crying out how David is more righteous than he is, and just cries out in guilt and agony and all of these feelings, okay? But then King Saul's like, look, even though you're more righteous than I am, I'm still jealous. So he continued to hunt David. Continued to hunt this man. Even though he showed him that he was willing to allow him to keep his life, he continued to hunt David. I mean, really? But what's so sad about this whole situation is because King Saul was so consumed by his jealousy and that pride, that in the process of hunting David, the Palestinians started to hunt King Saul. And that ended up being what killed his son Jonathan, the best friend of David. And then he ended up falling on his own sword. Okay? He ended up defeating his own self because he was so jealous and so consumed with pride. Like, he ruined himself. And then what's even crazier is when the word made it to David, he wept. He wasn't excited. He wasn't jumping for joy because he was, free from the hunt anymore. He was saddened. Oh, how the great have fallen, is what he said. Not, thank you, Lord, for saving me from my enemy. But he wept for the loss of him. He mourned him. Guys, we're going to continue with another part. I'll bring some more tea to you. We're going to follow up with where David goes from here, getting into becoming king and what it looked like after he became king. If you have someone else that you would like for me to dive deep into, please let me know. I do have King Solomon in line coming up. So if you're loving these, please let me know. And I hope you learned a little bit more about David today. Y'all have a blessed day.